Fire officials say with this hot weather and dry conditions, it's pretty much turned trees into tinder for wildfires. We're here in the South Hills of Eugene, where a crash last night has left one woman in critical condition. Here's what happened. She traveled northbound on Crest Drive, crashed over that embankment, and ended up rolling down into that tree. Now, investigators aren't sure exactly what caused the crash, but they are looking into alcohol as a potential factor. So you might actually want to think twice before getting that second cup of coffee. Researchers say it might actually slow you down. We're here at the Crest Drive Elementary School in South Eugene. It's one of 6 schools affected by the recent budget cuts to the 4J school district. Now the district is trying to save about $30 million. Closing these 6 schools only saves the district $1.2 million. So if your workday is dragging on, experts say taking 15 minutes to play Angry Birds might just be the boost you need.
KVAL's Lisa Nico is here with a sneak peek at the coolest facility in town. Lisa?
Well, that sure is right. Well, we won't get an official tour of the coolest complex until next week, but in the meantime, here's a look at what you can expect. It's called Pay It Forward, and it's a new program approved by Oregon lawmakers and headed to the governor's desk. The program removes upfront fees with the hopes of opening up higher education to people of all income levels. Instead of paying as they go, students would pay for their education after they had graduated and landed a job. Many we spoke to were all smiles about the idea, but there's still a lot of questions waiting to be answered. Like, what's the startup fee and what happens if a student transfers or even drops out? The next year will be spent looking at the program to see if it's even possible. If the answer is yes, supporters will come up with a pilot program by 2015. From the studio, I'm Lisa Nico with KVAL News. We begin with continuing coverage tonight. Police are still trying to put the pieces together at a home in North Bend where gunshots were fired and a woman's body was found dead Friday evening. 44-year-old Wayne Hanger is being held on murder charges for the death of 57-year-old Anna Hanger. District Attorney Paul Frazier says it appears she died from homicidal violence, but the exact cause of death is still not yet known. According to the Oregonian, Hanger has a history of violence against the victim. They say back in 2009, Hanger was arrested on assault charges after punching Anna Hanger and throwing a can of beer at her. And a Eugene man is dead after a fight Friday night. Eugene police say 33-year-old James Earl Jacobson Jr. collapsed and died just a few blocks away from where the fight broke out. Police say at this point it doesn't look like any weapons were involved. The exact cause of death is still being investigated. And the Roseburg Fire Department is looking into what caused a garage fire yesterday evening. It happened on Kirby Avenue just before 6 p.m. 3 vehicles and a 30-foot fir tree also caught fire. Everyone did make it out of that home safely. And new information tonight, dive teams are looking for a Canby woman's body and they're forced to give up that search now. Megan O'Mara Clark jumped into the Clackamas River on Friday and never resurfaced. Witnesses say she was in a dangerous part of that water and went under in a whirlpool. Divers say they're frustrated and baffled they couldn't find her remains. The dedicated search is over, but marine officers say they'll keep looking during regular patrols. The 125-acre Bland Mountain fire just east of Canyonville is now 100% contained. Officials say firefighters will stay on scene for several more days and check the area throughout the summer. The cause of that fire is still under investigation. And covering the Northwest, a Washington man learned about firework dangers the hard way. He created a sparkler bomb. When the entire packet of sparklers went off in his hand, it startled the neighborhood. The explosion shattered the man's bones in his arm and a leg, and doctors say they may have to amputate both limbs. The blast was so strong, a bomb squad was called to investigate.
I was dead asleep and I heard this big loud boom and I thought one of my windows had broken.
While Washington does have more liberal firework rules than Oregon, converting a firework into something that creates an explosion is a felony. No word yet on if that man will face charges. And on to Capital News now. Medical marijuana dispensaries are just a signature away from being legal here in Oregon. The House approved a bill Saturday that would set up a licensing system for dispensaries. Right now, the law says growers cannot make a profit off pot. The bill would allow dispensaries to sell medical marijuana to customers, and medical marijuana supporters are more than happy.
The problem we have, as you know, is trying to have people find safe access, because if you have a law and the law says you have a right to do this, but you have no place to go get your medicine, then what do? You're forced to go to the waterfront, to the black market, and that's not safe.
Governor John Kitzhaber's office says he hasn't decided whether or not he will sign that bill. And happening tonight, a Northwest stable is celebrating 30 years today. McMenamins first opened their barley mill location in Portland in 1983, and today they're celebrating their 30th with $3 pints of beer. The Northwest chain in Oregon and Washington is known for transforming historic and old buildings into breweries and restaurants. The servers say their customers, well, they just can't get enough.
Good product, great beer. We distill our own whiskey and gin, and I think that just the character of the place and the ambiance is what draws people.
The McMenamins on High Street is one of the oldest locations. It opened back in 1988 and still brews beer for the Eugene area. Well, finally tonight, 98 years old and still going strong. Angie McLean may be just a couple years from triple digits, but she's still working hard. McLean pours drinks at Panama Joe's Cafe in Bridgeport, Connecticut. She started bartending when she was just 17, and now she works 6 days a week, 8 hours a day. She says she'll be doing that for as long as she lives. Well, how about that? What a hard worker. Well, we want to thank all of you so much for watching KVAL News. You have a great night, and we'll see you back here at the desk again tomorrow.